hard to say sort of what has been the toughest decision making, but I'm curious what you say yes to now. When people come to you for guidance, for oversight, you get a lot of offers. What intrigues you? What's the best use of you?
Look, if our political leaders or our judges, if they believe that, I don't make that decision, if they believe that a fund should be created. Funds are very rare in this country. You're correct. They're more available today than they were 10 or 20 years ago. They're becoming a fashionable alternative to litigation.
Yeah.
But if our elected leaders or our judges come and say, Ken, we have decided already we want to create some sort of fund, then we begin to discuss the architecture, the design, how much money, who's eligible, what will be the procedures, and you begin down that road. So,
anything else? One moment in your history that always fascinated me was deciding executive compensation. I spoke with you at the time about this. There is this divisiveness in the country, and I would love to capture how you thought about compensation, not necessarily commenting on the bank CEO compensation day, although I welcome that, but how did that frame your thinking around the appropriate level to pay the leaders in these situations?
You know, that is a very good question. When I was the pay czar and when the Secretary of the Treasury asked me to calculate or determine appropriate compensation for senior corporate executives, I learned a very valuable lesson. It's not about a corporate executive saying, well, if you pay me less than I deserve, I won't be able to take a vacation with my family, or I won't be able to buy an additional automobile, or my kids won't be able to go to private school. Those variables never enter into the discussion. What really is interesting is corporate officials believe many times that what they get paid is hard evidence of their self-worth. It's an amazing thing. When
most of us would beg to differ.
Dollars,
yeah.
When you say to a corporate executive, you're only going to make $1 million or $5 million because the government wants to make sure that you can at least remain in your post and finish the job. The emotional pushback that I receive, as if you're demeaning me, you're attacking my own self-worth and what I mean to my family and my community. That's every bit as emotional as the victim of a terrorist attack in 9/11. And I must say, it is a very difficult assignment, and that's why Congress made it clear that this was a rather unique assignment that would not be replicated. But
it's sad.
The challenge was to pay somebody, but keep them in their job so that the company could return to profitability.
Any other advice you have as we're looking at the landscape that seems to have a lot of black swans, a lot of people getting hurt in various ways, always perhaps? You do have a playbook. We've talked a bit about that. And we do tend to sort of just freeze up and ricochet from crisis to crisis sometimes. Give us some thoughts as to what you would be thinking about as we look at the landscape of, frankly, a lot of disasters and a lot of pain out there, and how we compensate people appropriately.
Well, you better be careful about that. I've learned over the last 30 or 40 years that the American people have no interest in developing special compensation programs in advance of the disaster. It doesn't work that way. It's the emotion of a Maui or a BP oil spill or a 9/11 attack that triggers the desire, the political desire, to have these programs. And the other thing I think is that these programs should remain, if possible, exceedingly rare. This nation is built on self reliance. People fend for themselves. They buy life insurance. They buy insurance to protect against the unforeseen. That's the American system. I don't think the American people see these special compensation programs like 9/11 as the wave of the future. I certainly don't. And I think they should remain relatively rare.
Great. Ken, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.